Good to go.
Thank you. I want to call this meeting to order. It's now 10 minutes after 1 p.m., so it's 10 hours.
Director, 1 second. I'm sorry. My apologies. We cannot hear you on our speaker.
Check.
1 second. It's coming from our end. Just
Okay.
1 moment. Okay, we're testing it out now. Director, what about now?
Check 1, 3. Testing. Service Delivery Operational Committee meeting.
Very good.
Check.
We can hear you. It's a little choppy, but we can hear you much better. Better now. Thank you.
Go. We good to go, Beverly?
Yes, sir. We can get started now. Thank you for your patience.
Thank you. I would like to call this meeting to order officially. It's Tuesday, April 11th, 2023, and the time is 12 minutes after 1 p.m. This is the Service Delivery Operational Committee. I'm the chairman, Dietrich Leggett. I'm also here with member Bobby Lockett and Commissioner Bobby Lockett. And I see we don't have anything proposed by committee, so we can move forward to reports by committee.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Ms. Fay, and everybody watching us live.
Yeah.
I'll start with the March report for training. In March, we did a lot of training. As you can see from the chat, we had 55 people trained on wheelchair securement and vehicle breakdown. We also train people on what we call panic switch, which is if in event anything happens to a driver, there's a switch that they will press and then that will alert our control center. Most of the drivers had this training when they first came on board. So this was a refresher training, which was much needed. We also trained 6 people on how to operate the electric bus. This is ongoing. As we get more electric buses coming in, we want the drivers to know how to operate it. We also did de-escalation training, and that was really made for the St. Patrick's Day, so people can know how to respond in terms of any public action, how to de-escalate the situation. And we also did communication strategy training, and we had 16 people that attended. So in March, we did a lot of training, which was all required. Next slide, please. Okay, so now on-time performance as compared to the month of February, March, on-time performance went up, which is always a good thing on the fixed route side. Also, we're still monitoring vehicles leaving early, which is not, we have a window of 0 to 5. We advise drivers to leave within that window so they don't get to the bus stop early and leave people behind. So this is the data that we have, and as you can see, the 17 performed much better as compared to last month, and the 14, because it's not on this list because we added extra bus, so the frequency was good, and so there was any issue on this. That's why the 14 is not on this report. Go to the next slide, please. Ridership in March was very, very good. We had almost 16% higher as compared to last month. Although February has few days in the month, it's still a good number, 16% higher ridership, and that's what we want. If you can see, then do not run. Compare that to last month, the do not run went down tremendously, which is good. That means that last month we had 110 trips that didn't go out. And if you compare that to March, on the missed trip, we have 47, which is a very, very good number. So far the numbers are indicating that we're doing good, and that's how we want to keep it. Okay, next slide, please. On the paratransit side of business, ridership was good, and so is on-time performance. We went out on ridership 15.5% as compared to last month. And again, I want to emphasize that February had few days in the month, but still 15% is a very high number for ridership. The missed trip also went down. Now I have to be very mindful on the missed trip. So we did meet with the FDA, and in next month we're going to report the missed trip in details. This is still a low number, but the numbers should have been more lower than this. And on the next month report, I will explain how the missed trip is calculated. The no-shows went up, which is not our fault. That means we show up and people cancel our service just when we showed up. If you compare that number to last month, we had 362 no-shows. And our policy is, if we come to you and you cancel our service, you didn't give us any notice, there's a consequence. We'll bring you here for hearing, and if that keeps on, I think 3 strikes, we can deny you service. And this is on the paratransit side. So, next slide, please. There's not much to report on this except that operator coaching and supervisory training are happening in March. So, you can go to the next slide, please. Are we on the same page on here? Went to Marines, okay. So, we should have moved this. After this, okay, I got all my slides wrong. On the Marine side, like I said, every time on the Marine, ridership is always high. We went up 10.6%, and there were no much issues. There's a demand on the Marine side always, and I'll let Ms. Faye on this one, on the Marine.
So we are doing an extensive amount of coordination now. Of course, we're heading into a peak season for use of the ferries, and of course, they're very popular. We are meeting with both the entities that are responsible for visitors and hospitality and all those kinds of operational matters to discuss the condition of our vessels. And I wanted to go into a little bit more detail on some of these things beyond just the overview that is in your slide. The Juliet Gordon Lowe continues extensive rehab at Thunderbolt Marine. We're still waiting on a completion date for that. The Mary Musgrove is mostly finished with yard work, but continues to be delayed while we wait for specialized parts to arrive from a German manufacturer. When the parts are received, W.W. Williams will install, and once it's operational again, the U.S. Coast Guard will conduct an inspection to certify its service, and we're still awaiting a final completion date on that. Susie King Taylor is currently operational and running better than it has for many years. Great news. Due to the engine repairs and extensive outdrive repairs that were completed in December of 2022 with the support of you as our board and the commitment of resources needed to make that happen. The Florence Martis was at the Thunderbolt Marine starting April 3rd to undergo a 5-year hull inspection. The U.S. Coast Guard passes the vessel with little to no repairs needed. Then we hope to have it back in into service soon. However, the last week when the inspection was done, the Coast Guard noted that we needed to replace an 8-foot section of hull above the water line. The earliest that work can possibly begin is tomorrow, and then we hope to have it back in service next week, and we're pushing as hard as we can on that. Again, we are meeting with all of the parties that use our services for both the meetings and events, conventions, and so forth that happen here, so that we're helping to manage expectations, and we are always ready with a bus bridge that can serve those needs of crossing back and forth across the river between River Street and the convention center area, should that be needed. Additionally, we are continuing to work with our insurance company on the claim for the replacement of the dock and the ramp that were damaged when the earthquake impacted the wall over at the convention center. So that claim is continuing to be under review, and we are awaiting additional action on that. And then the grant that we've held for some number of years with regard to the West Side Dock and the ferry maintenance facility continues to progress. We have believe that we have substantially completed everything that is required, but it is still undergoing FTA review and compliance steps in order for that grant to be released. One of those compliance steps is at the upcoming MPO meeting this month. There will be a TIP amendment that will properly include those projects and those funds in the region's TIP. Thank you, and I'll hand it back to Dr. Manny to go over the maintenance.
Mr. Massimo, real quick, do we have any concerns or anything slowing us down because the actions with the new ships coming in and more frequent as the ships are coming in the river or in the port area?
I think, Director, that's a very good point. I'm glad you brought that up. I think we do have continuing concerns about obviously restoring. We're operating with the temporary extension of the dock over there in partnership with the Weston and our other partners there in order to continue our services there. The restoration of that wall damage is of course something that we're keenly interested in, aware of, and continues to impact us as it does everyone. And then you've also got the need for dredging of slip 3 and how that can be undertaken and accomplished, and that's going to be really important as it relates to our ferry maintenance facility and any growth in our operations over the coming years. We are meeting with the SAMI board in an upcoming workshop later this month, and a part of that is going to be what do the marine services look like? What does the marine services portion of the master transit plan look like? And what are all of those pieces and parts, so to speak, that are out there that are either opportunities or challenges to our strengthening our service and continuing to expand it as the demand occurs.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Fay. All right, so I'll continue on the maintenance side. If you can all recall, last month I reported that the mean distance between vehicle failure was low. This month is a little high, 16,000, which is better than the national average. And the reason is that some spare parts that we were waiting on came in, so we're able to get our vehicles back on the road. The more parts we get, or the more new vehicles we get, this number is always going to go up high. Okay, I guess that's all I have on the maintenance side. Now, division update. So we recruited, or we hired a very smart young man, Samuel Kennedy. He's the new safety, security, and risk management manager, who's been on board, doing very great, working with us and trying to get everything together. So I just want the board to be aware. Maybe next time we'll have him in person and introduce him to the board. On the CDL training, we are required to get in-house tester. What that means is that after the training, either we go to a vendor who's a tester, and the drawback is that if the tester is not ready or is fully booked, we have to wait till that tester is available. So we can do it that way, or we can have an in-house. So my approach is that we're going to have an in-house tester. Samuel Kennedy, our safety security risk manager, is going to be the tester. So training manager will get all the class, train them to get a CDL, and then by then I'm hoping that with timeline, Mr. Kennedy will have his tester certification. That means we can test all the students in-house. That will ease up the delay and get people to join our workforce. So we'll give you an update as we go through the process of getting an in-house tester. The training facilities, I talked about it last time. So with Ms. Faye help, we're able to get a facility from the county, which is very good. So we are all kind of ready to roll this out. My anticipation is maybe June 15th. When we're setting, we'll bring it to the board, and it'll be a board item on what the training costs, and all that will be in the next month board meeting. And so this is just an update on the CDA training. St. Patrick's Day, we got a very good feedback, but in May, we're gonna have a formal report for the board. But just to share with you that the feedback we got was very, very great. On the electric vehicles for paratransit, the charges are being worked on by Georgia Power, and my anticipation is that we may have these vehicles all ready to go by the first week of May, if all lines up, and I believe that will be a very good time. I will keep the board updated as the process roll out. The paratransit operations, by the help of the assistant COO for paratransit, they had a very good meeting, staff meeting, which I was part of it. It went very well, and I recommend that to the head of that department to have these meetings on a monthly basis, where we can all sit and talk about issues and how to move forward. And I attended, and it was a very good meeting. I just want to share that with the board. Also, another good news, we're gonna have 3 brand new diesel buses, and that's gonna be shipped out next week. We should have it on our facility by the end of the month. So that's another very, very good news. The more new vehicles we can get to our fleet, the better service we can provide to the public. So 3 new buses are gonna be here by the end of the month. The two-way radio, this is for fixed route. So what we're trying to do now is that our radios are so updated. So we purchase two-way radios for all our modes, paratransit and fixed route. They're all gonna have brand new radios, so communication will be on point. And that is also part of how we provide good service to the public. So that's my update from my department. And with that, I'll take any question.
Question here, sir. Doctor, can you hear me?
Yes, sir, I can hear you loud and clear.
Let me ask you this. I noticed the 3 new buses are diesel. We're moving away from gasoline.
Can you repeat your question? I didn't get the last part.
I noticed the 3 new buses we have coming in. Are we moving away from gasoline? Dr. Madden, can you hear me now?
Oh, sorry. Can you hear me now?
I can hear you. Can you
Okay,
hear
sorry,
me?
my mic was off. Yeah. So on the fixed route, we never had any gasoline vehicles.
Okay.
Yeah, it's diesel, hybrid, and electric buses.
Thank you for updating me on that.
All right. You're welcome. Any other question?
Thank you, Dr. Manny. Any old or new business from anyone? Okay, if there's no old or new business, Mr. Massimo, you wanted to say anything about the any other proposed business or action to the committee?
Just to, as per the agenda that you received prior to the meeting, in the Financial Services Audit and Compliance Committee, there will be a discussion regarding the APTA membership renewal, as well as in Executive Governance, our 2024 governance calendar.
Okay. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that's good. Thank you guys for spending time with us today. I thank the public and I think our leadership team. You guys are doing an awesome job. And I don't see a date here for our next meeting, but our next upcoming meeting would definitely be our executive governance meeting. And I'll see y'all then. If you don't have anything for the greater good, I adjourn this meeting at 32 minutes after 1.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, sir.
Good meeting.
The next meeting is April 18th.